Hello, eBayers. I wouldn't really class myself as an eBayer. I'm doing my best though. So in theory, we're a few days in to the officialness of running an eBay store. I've actually been doing this for years, but unofficially. Now, I don't mean, oh, he's getting money on the side and that. I mean, who hasn't been doing that? It has been buying and selling things just to use myself. It's not until you actually drill into the eBay stats, if you like, not so much these ones, but the eBay stats over time, you realise how much money's sort of turned over, and you think to yourself, I haven't seen any of that. Why haven't I got that much money? Well, there's a good reason for that. I keep spending it on other bits that I buy and sell. So it's been a long time coming of selling officially on eBay as a business. Now, when you start a business, any business, you're very lucky if you start making money anyway. I've got a full-time job. I'm self-employed, so it gives me time to sort of migrate into what I want to do long-term. I can still do both my jobs, my instructor job and my selling job. And the goal is to migrate over to perhaps 85%, 80% selling and a 20% kind of driver instructing. So that's the plan. It's a long-term plan. We'll give it probably, I don't know, we're going to give it 12 months to see how it goes. So we're right in the beginning of it. So what I've done here is I've quickly showing you what I've done on eBay officially so far. It's not very big, we can scroll down. I'm sort of looking at the graph there. Yeah, it's got some gaps in it. Things are going up in prices. So you look over the last 90 days, it's sort of £1,700, and then the 31 days is pretty much a month. That looks good if you see that. So £849. I've got my screen down here as well. I'm not looking actually at the camera. Yeah, and the last 7 days, week, £300. Remember, that's turnover, not profit. So generally speaking, I tend to run around about, from what figures you see there, 50%. When you consider all the costs that are involved, all the packing, the time, all that, even like travelling to and from places, which you sort of have to put down as mileage, it works out at the moment about 50%. So you can't live off that. Although if you had like absolutely zero outgoings, like if you had money, and it was just sort of like in a bank earning interest, paying for your bills, you probably could potentially live off that, couldn't you? Not if it was regular, £150 a week, just like what we call like beer money, investing money, maybe, I don't know. But it is a start. It's not fantastic, but it's a start. You've got to remember, I've only been doing this officially since the beginning of October. In reality, I've been selling on eBay since 2000 or buying and selling on eBay since 2001. However, setting up the RC gadgets and toys trade, if you like, since COVID. So when we say COVID, in the UK, pretty much like, I think everywhere, wasn't it? 2019, 2020 is when I officially started that up. But it wasn't really buying things to make money. It was, what can I sell to make money, to buy things to make money. It wasn't really that profitable. Nowadays, and getting on to perhaps at the beginning of October in 2025, I'm taking more care in how I proceed with buying things and selling. Yeah, my background is engineering, but like a lot of people around when I first started work, sort of 17, 18, I think, just out of college, it was quite easy, one, to get a job, and to go into any like warehousing type of environment where you're pick and packing. Now, that's what I did. And actually, the picking and packing process, and what I actually really enjoyed that. I didn't look at it as a dead end job. That was my problem. And I stayed in that job for a good 9 years, building my way up through the ranks, eventually managing people, which, although I didn't particularly like, I was surprisingly good at it. I say that because if you know me, a people's person. I mean, it's another story altogether. And then I sort of work my way through other warehouses, and just that sort of organised way of work and neat and tidiness. I really enjoyed that. I used to run like a post room in a business, and it got to a point where I knew exactly where everything was. You could say it's a little bit OCD type of approach, but I was so careful with what I did. It doesn't matter who came down to speak to me in the post room, and we could come from managing directors or the owner of the business but people like me, wanting to know certain things, and everybody in between, other managers. I knew exactly where things were, so I was very astute with what was going on in the post room at the time. So I think those sort of skills lead on to perhaps other opportunities, I should say. So eBay is a prime example. So we've only just started. I'm going to do some videos leading up to try and build some momentum to hopefully give other people, I don't know, maybe inspiration to try it themselves. There's many eBayers that buy and sell and then do a YouTube video channel about their exploits, good and bad. There's some very, very good eBay sellers around on YouTube. There's also some not so good ones, which I won't say it's because it's them, it's just it doesn't come across as successful. But although I watch it, I pick things up from each video. So there's some bits which are really important, and you've got to sort of pick out from the bad bits. So the purpose of this channel is not really to it's certainly not to gloat, and it's certainly not to say you should be doing it this way. What I will say is all the information that I've gathered and all the experience that I have through picking and packing, I believe that I've got a slight edge. It doesn't mean by any stretch that I'm going to sit here and say I'm going to make millions of pounds, because I'm not. But I think my processes work well. My issue, and my only issue really, is, well, it's probably two. One, time. Two, investment. There probably is a three off the top of my head. Can't think of it right now, but it's time and investment. So you have to put money in. Like anything, it sounds a bit silly, doesn't it? If you're going to run a business, you have to have money to invest, and it isn't just like £100, 100 UK pounds, about $150. It's way more than that. You need way more, and to be honest, more than I can put in. So I know that I've read quite a few books, funny enough, successful people. Times change over the years, but I think a prime example is something like if you have $100 and you can make that into $200, then you're winning. That's kind of the philosophy that I go by, but it's definitely not as easy as that. But anyway, this channel is solely for my experiences on selling on eBay as a business. So there's going to be good and bad. It won't be super regular videos because I might not sell anything, or what I'm hoping is I'm too busy to make a video. That'd be the best thing. And I might be able to do some live shows, because it's not, I don't need to prepare. If you know, I've got my other channel, which is RC Cars. That needs a lot of structure. You need stuff, don't you? I mean, sit there to talk about radio control cars. I'm not sure it just has the pull as what talking about eBay, because eBay is about stats. I don't know what you think, but watching somebody pack parts and bits and produce and sending it off, I don't know, I just don't find it that interesting. But what I find is how they got to that point, the journey to that point. Anyone can pack something and sell it, whether it's for a profit or not. So it doesn't really matter what they sell. That's kind of irrelevant. That's their niche. But it's more like how they got to that point of maybe acquiring these parts to what they did and then selling it, rather than the actual picking and packing and wrapping and sending. I don't know. What do you think? What do you want to see on this channel? Remember, it is at its infancy. It's not really a successful, thriving business, but it's got the structure to hopefully be there. And we're going to give it 12 months, and we're literally days in. So I'd like to hear from you, and any other eBayers that might sort of stumble across this video, because it's a new channel, so I'm not expecting hardly any views at the moment, but I'll try and promote the channel as best I can. I'll link it with my other channel, which has a little bit of a following. But I think to hear from successful people, or new eBayers, or just people in general, what would you like to see going forward? You can see there that, you know, my figures are not fantastic, but it's a start. You've got to start somewhere, and this is what this is going to be about. It's going to be the whole journey all the way up to, I hope, success. That would be the plan. The eBay experiment. So I'll leave it there. I hope you join me on the journey through, good and bad, and definitely like to hear back from anyone that's watching this that, I don't know, that has got experience in this field, success, or they've tried and failed. I mean, either or. I'm sure that we can sort of get some ideas together. Perhaps if you did something wrong, maybe I could give you some ideas. If I'm doing something wrong, maybe you can give me some ideas. I think that's the whole thing. Successful people are successful for a reason. So I hope to join everybody on this channel in the near future, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon. So thank you for watching. Please, can you like, subscribe, and spread the word of a new eBay channel, and I shall speak to you very soon. Bye for now.